Double-digit thousands.
Welcome to the session on Race to DevOps. My name is Adam, and I'm a software generalist and a DevOps evangelist by profession and a technical trainer by passion. So in this session today, we'll try to understand what are the skills that we need in order to jumpstart our career into the DevOps domain. Pretty much, how is that we being a developer or a QA person or into an administration, how is that we can move towards the DevOps and what are the skills that is needed for us? And also, I'll talk about details on what are the personal benefits that you'll be getting by moving towards the DevOps culture. And for those who doesn't know what is DevOps, would suggest to go through our previous recordings on the introduction to DevOps to get a clear understanding on what do we technically mean by DevOps and what are the things that the organizations will be doing in DevOps. So as we know, DevOps is one of the fast growing technology, and in that there are lots and lots of opportunities that are available. But particularly when you see not every one of us will be doing the same kind of task. So how is that all of us can to be work into a single domain called DevOps? So that is something confusing where people will not be clear about. So to first understand, if you look, because of vast changes and the technical improvements that are happening in the market, as an organization, primarily they'll be looking for a person who has certain generical skills. So those generic skills, if you list, these are the topmost one, which on year by year organizations are looking more from a person who is going to be help them in improving their business. So in that way, the topmost required generic skill that a person should be having is on the operational side, where the operation skills are those using which you will be ensuring the smooth functioning of the complete infrastructure of your organization, and also to take care of the environment where the environment will be pretty much used to deploy or run certain applications and used by internal stakeholders or by an external customers. So pretty much we are bound to ensure not just to use machine, but also focus towards how is that we can do certain maintenance of that. So that's majorly on the operational skills. And the second most important skills are the communication skills. So communication skills is not about just talking very good in English or pretty much you know how to talk to a different person, but more from a professional and then from an organization. If you look, communication involves how is that we properly indicate different stakeholders on what are the dependencies that they have, how well are they aware of the updates that are happening and the status about the task that we are doing. So in that way, communication involves details about sending up proper email notifications and following up with it, going through certain ticketing mechanism where for any issues that has been raised, you will be properly indicating and updating the stakeholder on what is the status and what is the fix that you're going to give. And then also, if you look from the management side, they would always require some kind of metrics through which they can know certain data, what is happening. So that way, it's always communicate to the management in terms of putting up some metrics and in the dashboard. Through that, they will try to know what is happening and what are the improvements that is needed. So that's when communication is one of the important skill that a person should be having, focusing towards the DevOps movement. The next top generic skill that is on the list is the analytical skills. So analytical skills are those using which we will be able to visualize or articulate, pretty much conceptualize a problem that we have, whether it could be a simple issue or a complicated issue. How is that we are going to sensibly take care of providing a solution to that problem within the specified time. So that's when The analytical skills majorly focuses towards how well are you going to plan certain activity, and what is the analysis that you're going to do before jumping into provide a solution, and ensure that you take care of the time management and provide proper solution by taking the right decision. So that is more important, where provided a problem, we are not just supposed to directly jump onto it and provide a solution. We have to focus majorly on what is the impact that it is going to have towards the business, and based on that take a sensible decision. So that's more from the analytical skills that we should be having. And further on comes on the project management skill, on how is that you're going to take care of the complete project from beginning to end, and also involves people management. And then down the list, the other important task that a person should be able to do is interpersonal skills. So talking about interpersonal skills, these are the day-to-day way of how is that you interact with other people within the organization, or to the customers, through which you will get the things done. Because we might be very good in communicating, but let's say if something goes wrong, how is that you interact more personally with particular person in an organization or to a customer, and try to smoothly drive the solution towards this problem or get the things addressed. So that's the other important skill what a person should be able to have at this point of requirement in the organization. And then comes the industry specific experience, that will be like a cherry on top of your cream, which will be adding more benefit, because you will be specialized in a particular area and you know things better and provide an actual and appropriate solution towards this. Okay, so these are the general skills that would be expected from a person. Now, coming to the technical side. So, what are the skills that the organization are looking for, so that they can try to manage their infrastructure and run the business, through which they'll make sure that the operational efficiency as well as the cost that has been involved in the maintenance will be reduced. So that way, the topmost on the list is cloud deployment and virtualization. So these are the skills using which how is that you're going to effectively take care of the complete infrastructure. And in that, as and when we need machines, you should be able to virtualize the machine that is on the scaling up or scaling down. You should be able to get the things done virtually rather than procuring newer and newer machines. So that is one of the topmost requirement on what organizations are looking, so that they can run the business effectively. Next is the system architecture and programming. Now, in the system architecture, we are not supposed to just focus on creating a product, wherein we have to think about creating a product in such a way that it is maintenance free as much as possible, and it also is of a better quality. So that is when you have to think about not just writing a product or creating a product, but of more in a efficient way on how long you will be using it, and what and all are the maintenance effort that you have to do, and what will be the quality of them. And in addition to that, programming lies an important role, where it's not just like writing a C program or a Java program. You can also think about writing scripts, because there are many tasks which we want to do the automation in it. But for that, there are not specific tools that are available. So for those kind of activities, you always have to write some program or some script through which you will ensure that you will automate the requirement. So that is when the second on the list is the programming and the system architecture. Then the third most important is the configuration management tools. So now this is one of the emerging area where organizations are looking for experts, where if you look, you have the machines and you are trying to manage them on the cloud, or you're trying to create virtual machines and taking care of it. But when as a user, if you look, you need to do certain configurations that will be changing per user to user, and that once again changes from machine to machine. So how is that you're going to take care of all the machines that is available in the infrastructure? So that is one of the biggest problem. So that's the requirement where using the configuration management tools, we will be ensuring that the state of the machine is always as we require. So pretty much for the configuration management, we have a lot of tools like Ansible, Chef, Puppet, using which you will be solving the configurational or the configuration management requirement. Next down the list is quality and testing tools. Now, there might be a question, why is the quality and testing tools of not much importance in the technical skills? So it is not like it is not important because the quality is always one of the top priority of an organization. But why is it on the list here is it has been something already been done by people, because when you take a software development lifecycle, testing is already a part of it. So we are being already doing certain automation and trying to improve the quality of our product. But through the DevOps, the focus is what are the improvements that you can do on that. So that is way on top of what we are already doing, the priority wise, if you see, it is little less. But other than that, as an organization, if you look, quality and testing is more important. So that way, what are the improvements that you will be doing towards the quality? So that is when you will be introducing certain concepts like continuous integration, and along with it, you will be introducing certain code quality processes through which you ensure that as soon as the developer tries to write the code, you will ensure that there is no problem in it, or if it is a problem, you indicate back to him and try to address that, and also have a metrics using which you can measure the quality of the code completely. So that's how focusing on the quality and testing would be the fourth most required set of skill that a person should be having moving towards the DevOps. Then the next one comes the visualization of the data or dashboard. Because now, as an engineer, we'll be knowing that there are so many problems and we are trying to work on day to day. But as an organization or from a management, how is that they will try to look at it? So that is when we have to put the details on whatever that we are working in a form of metrics so that we can publish the result and show everything to them. So that is when dashboard or the data visualization on how do you store that data is also quite an important task which an organization is expecting from a person who will be coming towards the DevOps side, because you're not just going to solve the problem, but how effectively are you giving the results published in such a way that when the management wants, they can know, okay, these many problems were there and you have solved all so many things, or these are the current problems that are happening. So through that visualization and the metrics, they'll be easily able to get the problem. And then further, on a smaller amount, it is also required to collaborate tools. Now, since we'll be having many products and many processes which have been running from a long time, like a legacy code or a product, now there will be certain tools which have been already used. Now, changing something directly will not be so or such an easier task to do. So that is when, how do you try to integrate and collaborate all these different tools so that you form a process which will try to automate things from end to end. So that is when the other important skill that the organization would expect a person is how is that you can integrate those existing tools that is already been present in the organization to take care of a process. And finally, knowledge on taking care of the management tools for upgrading your applications is another important area which the organization is looking for. Now, talking about all those things, now, let's say that you are already an administrator and you focus towards some particular tool and you learn that, and then you get into DevOps. So now coming to the point where people would always ask is, okay, by moving to DevOps, what is the benefit that we are going to get? Obviously, other than the career growth, if you see, it is a high paid job. Why is it? Because DevOps is not something where you will be focusing on only one area or working on only one tool. So it's basically a combination of different processes and tools using which you will be providing a business solution and to drive the business requirement for an organization. So that is when in DevOps, the salary is directly proportional to the amount of the knowledge that you have and the different areas that you are ready to solve the problem. So in that way, if you look specifically in India, we always have a tradition method of saying that the salary will be actually equal to the number of years of experience, or it will be equal to 1.5 times your experience. So in that way, when you compare to DevOps, the salary range would be quite high. So rather than putting it up, in a direct format, I'm just trying to compare it with the number of times the salary would be changed. So if you take for the base level of experience, where if your experience levels lies between 1 to 5 years, then the salary what you can expect it somewhere between 3 to 6 times that of your experience. And an average, if you look, that can go up to 18 lakhs per annum. So that's again an average, where we have people who are getting lesser than this, and at the same time we have people who are even getting more than that. But again, all of them depends on the different kind of tools, or the problem solving areas that you are aware of, and what are the different technical skills that you have. So more the skills, obviously higher will be the salary. Next, on the next range, if you see on the senior level, where if you're experienced between 6 to 10 years, then the salary range might happen wherein it would be almost 3 times your experience to 4 times your experience. So that is when the average salary of a person coming to the DevOps between 6 to 10 years will be around 25 lakhs per annum. And the same thing, if you go as an expert, wherein you are more than 10 plus years of experience, then the salary range happens again somewhere between 3 times to 4 times your experience. So that's when the average salary would come somewhere around 35 lakhs per annum. So now, if you look again, so these salaries are the average salaries on what a DevOps engineer would be getting. And this completely depends on the company as well as the skill set on what you're going to work where. As I said, this is not the least. We have a lot of opportunities where you can earn more, but provided we should be able to understand that the salary is quite proportional to the technical skills that we have. So that's how you have lots and lots of potential. But pretty much, if you see, only those are on the lesser years experience have a lot of benefit, where the salary range is going to be somewhere around 3 times to 6 times the years of experience. But that doesn't mean that as the number of years the experience keeps growing, you can give equally. So it'll be a little difference, but pretty much comparatively now, when you see on the other domain, you always have 3 times to 4 times the salary of what you will be expecting in DevOps. So now, coming to the actual point, how is that we have to jumpstart and be a DevOps engineer? Because now we could be a developer or a QA person or a database administrator or an IT administrator, or even I could be a release manager or a build engineer. How is that we have to come into DevOps? So what are the specifications that we have to first know? So that is when people first, what do they think is, okay, let me stop what I'm doing and move on to DevOps. No, it's not like that. So always it gives an added advantage on whatever that you have already done. So make sure that you take benefit of your existing experience. And top of that, try to do certain cross training, because DevOps not just talks about focusing on one area, it talks about solving different problems that happens between the development and the operations group. So that is when the first thing that you have to do is start learning different things other than your current expertise area. So if you're into the development side, look into the administration side and the operation side. If you're already into the QA, think about what are the automations that you can do and the system requirements, how is that you're going to maintain the system. So those kind of things, what you have to do. And if you're already an IT administrator, think about the other side on what and all are the improvements and the assistance that you can do for the development and testing to improve the release cycle. So that's the first thing that you have to focus. The next thing is build the skills in your existing job so that you can move on to a better one that you want to move from the DevOps. So that's when, rather than directly jumping into DevOps, you have to think about on your existing role and the job, what are the improvements that you can do? What are the different areas where you can step out of your comfort zone in your current role and try to take different thing, because that is the base for DevOps. So that is where you have to first start that from your existing job and try to do those kind of tasks, and from that you will be moving towards a bigger role where you will be taking care between the development activities as well as the operational activities. And then focus on automation as much as possible. So now you have to prove that you can do things in a better and a faster way with a little amount of resources or the time. So that is what automation is all about. So if you say that you want to move towards DevOps, then you have to focus about whatever that you're doing, how quickly can you do within a given shorter time, or how is that you will be achieving your given goals in an organization within the reduced time, where for that, whatever automation effort is needed, you have to focus on improving that. And then finally, the most important thing again is about how is that you develop your personal brand in terms of the community involvement. Because now, as we know, there are lots and lots of new tools coming, newer and newer process coming. So we always have to be up to date, be part of different community, and try to understand the concepts and then practice on them. So that is when, not just to think only from your current task and only from the current projects you have to think beyond it, be part of different community, try to have healthier discussions between the other people across organization or in the communities, wherein you will be getting newer ideas and you will be getting to know different kind of tools and the processes. So that's when you have to understand by which you will be able to eventually or slowly move from your existing role to a DevOps role. Finally, now, by all this, what exactly are you going to do in the DevOps? So now, not all the companies would be requiring someone to work on all the tools. As I said, now every company will have a different kind of problem, and they want someone being into the DevOps side can solve that particular problem area. So that is when, if you look, the career opportunities in DevOps is quite vast, since it's not just focusing on only one area. You have many different kind of areas where you can utilize your expertise and try to solve the problem. So that is when you can enhance your career in whatever path that you see an opportunity, and you have your expertise skill in that and grow. So that majorly depends on different kind of problem areas or the improvements like continuous integration or continuous delivery, or if you want to focus towards the infrastructure improvement, then you can jump onto the cloud computing. Or let's say you're going to take care of all the configurations of the machine, then you can think about getting in deeper into configuration management and making that as your DevOps career. Or if there are lots and lots of machines that are available in the organization, but there's no one to take care of monitoring it. So you can change your role in such a way that you can monitor everything effectively and ensure that there is no bottleneck that is going to happen. And finally, it's all about putting up automation as much as possible. So that's how in DevOps, you have a vast career opportunity wherein, depending on the business need and depending on your expertise area, you can make your career particularly in any one of the area and help the organization to do the business in a better way, or you can do a combination of all these things together. Okay, so that's pretty much I had for the session today. And thanks for attending. And if you have any questions or feedbacks, please do write a mail to us and we'll be happy to address it. Thank you.